New warnings from progressives about the futility of negotiating with a right wing under the sway of violent extremism and McConnell-style obstruction. Today, someone pointing to this as Exhibit A. Mike Pence with new comments about the insurrection and pulling his punches on Trump, saying, while they may not see eye to eye on the riot, Trump deserves praise.
January 6th was a dark day in the history of the United States Capitol. You know, President Trump and I have spoken many times since we left office. And I don't know if we'll ever see eye to eye on that day. I think what President Trump showed us was what Republicans can accomplish when our leaders stand firm on conservative principles and don't back down.
Eye to eye, they tried to kill you. The insurrection put Pence's life at risk. Impeachment video showed him escorted to safety as the mob drew near. The violent mob that literally chanted, "Hang Mike Pence." A mob that showed up on behalf of President Trump, who told them Pence was letting them down. And Pence is still basically kissing up to Trump. That's the context for a new push from progressive telling Biden, stop waiting for the GOP to act like a conventional negotiating partner, whether it's about creating a riot commission or striking a deal on infrastructure. Joining me now is Associate Editor and Pulitzer Prize-winning columnist for Washington Post, Eugene Robinson. Great to talk to you, Eugene. I'm really excited about this. I got to start off with this. You've seen a lot in Washington, D.C. Have you ever seen the kind of bizarre loyalty that we are seeing from Mike Pence right now? And where do you think it stems from?
Well, I don't think anybody's ever seen anything like this, really, Jason. But, you know, you're seeing it from Mike Pence. But look what you're seeing from Kevin McCarthy. Look what you're seeing from Mitch McConnell. You know, the day after the insurrection, they too were angry. And McCarthy had this blow up on the phone with President Trump during the insurrection. And then he slinks down to Mar-a-Lago a few days later to kiss the ring and to make up. And Mitch McConnell is now, back in the Trump camp. And so what do you expect from Mike Pence, who wants to stay in the good graces of the Republican base? And they all figure that's where their base is. Their base is crazy. That's where their base is, and they're going to stick with their base.
And this is what's interesting to me, and I'm curious what your thoughts on this. Look, people have made comparisons. Oh, it's like Pence is in an abusive relationship with Trump. No, people who are trapped in abusive relationships are trapped, right? They can't get out. There's danger involved. They want to get out of them. He's not Reek from Game of Thrones. He wasn't abused into this. He's more like Smithers from The Simpsons. Like, he signed up for this. Eugene, yeah. I don't see Mike Pence as having much of a political future in the Republican Party. He's not going to run for president in 2024. He's not going to go back and run for governor of Indiana. So why does he care about being down with a base that wanted to kill him? I don't see the political calculation.
Well, look, you don't see the political future for Mike Pence, and neither do I. I don't think he is a viable or particularly nationwide presidential candidate I don't think he'll be that attractive to the Republican Party, and I don't think he could win a general election. And so now that's the way I see it. That's the way you see it. That's not necessarily the way Mike Pence sees it. You and I both met a lot of politicians who had inflated and perhaps distorted views of their prospects of themselves, and we've also met politicians whose mantra is to keep every option open, right? And because you never know what's going to happen, and so there's just no way he is yet ready to cut this tie. But this is, make no mistake, this is calculation. I mean, no, he's not in an abusive relationship, and you can imagine what he really feels deep down. But this is calculation. Might be wrong, but it's calculation.
If there is anything deep down, I mean, I think that fly was up there checking around. He didn't notice anything during the campaign. Eugene, so speaking of trying to keep all your options open, we're already getting reporting out of the New York Times that Biden has already scaled back some of his infrastructure bill in the hopes of making way with Republicans. It strikes me that this is naive on the part of the president. Infrastructure is something that conceivably could make everybody happy, but Donald Trump never got it done during his 4 years. Barack Obama really only managed to get it done at the beginning with the stimulus package. What do you think the chances are of any infrastructure bill being passed with this current Senate and this administration?
Well, chances don't look very good right now. That's for sure. But look, it's clear right now that President Biden wants to go not just the extra mile, but the extra 10 miles or however far he needs to go to try to get a bipartisan bill, or at least to demonstrate that he has tried everything under the sun to get a bipartisan bill. And until he reaches that point, and he doesn't seem to think he's got there yet, he's going to keep going. So I don't see where this negotiation is going. The two sides are way, way apart. Republicans are not offering anything like the figure that Biden wants in new spending. They basically want to repurpose COVID money. I mean, it's just it's not. This doesn't look like a negotiation that's converging on a compromise that both sides can live with. It looks like, parallel play, right? They're talking to different universes, but it's gonna go on for a while longer.
Joe Biden is sitting there on the phone saying, "Show me the money," and Mitch McConnell is he's saying, "No, I'm not going to show you anything."
No.
Eugene Robinson, thank you so much for your time.